Well, what can I say? Mikel Merino's just going to have to start every single game from now on. This is today's Arsenal News Show. Hello and welcome to the Gooner Talk, back again with you guys and girls for another episode of what is indeed the Arsenal News Show. Joining you every single morning at 8 a.m. UK time. Thank you so much, as always, for joining me and making this a part indeed of your morning routines. It is greatly appreciated. Hope you're doing good. I hope you're doing well. I hope your week's been good so far. It's Wednesday. You've made it through the dreaded Tuesday, which means at the end of the week is indeed just around the corner. And of course, that means Premier League action will be back. And Arsenal, of course, travelling to Fulham this Saturday afternoon, looking to extend their advantage at the top of the Premier League table. But good morning to all of you joining us live in the chat box. Thank you so much, as always, for joining us. Appreciate you listening. And good morning to Runs with Cows, to Dave, to Barry, to Black Shine, to Trina, to Olawale. Good morning to you, to Matt G and Natty, Tom and Grantley Poos, Mohammed, just saying, and Maximius. Good morning to you. Paul, Scouse Gooner, we've got Pat, we've got Amber Lee, we've got Martin. Good morning, and thank you to everybody else, of course, joining, and those listening, of course, on catch up on the channel as well. Thank you so much. If you could drop a like on the video, subscribe if you're new, or perhaps leave a 5-star review, that would be greatly appreciated if you are indeed an audio listener only. But let's not waste any more time, shall we? Let's jump into today's stories, because there's a few to talk about today based upon the performances that we've seen of Arsenal's international stars over the last 24 hours. Now, Max Dowman, of course, has been on the rise this season, has broken into not only the Arsenal senior squad, but has been promoted from the England under-17s to the England under-19 squad. We know during the last international break that he caught the eye of Mikel Arteta for his performance against Spain, where he won a penalty. Surprise, surprise. He seems to be kind of making that his forte at the moment, but he has since taken things to an even higher level this time around, because in this most recent of fixtures, in a 7-0 victory for England's under-19s against Wales's under-19s, Dowman scored the 4th goal of the game, which made him, by quite some distance, England under-19's youngest ever goal scorer. It is, these games, very difficult to get information from at times, and very hard to kind of get any semblance of idea about how goals have been scored, what actually happened. Until those highlights come out, we have absolutely no idea. I've contacted the FA to try and get information on what actually happened, but even their own match report doesn't give us too much information. All we know is that he scored the 4th goal in a 7-0 fixture, and that he has indeed become England under-19's youngest ever goal scorer. So massive congratulations to Max, who we expect, of course, to make something of an impact in the setup with the senior squad in the games to come, considering the likes of Odegaard and Madueke both currently being out injured for the moment. So he will get more opportunities, we are sure of that. In terms of the senior level, though, both Eze and Bukayo Saka managed to provide goal contributions in this game. Eze scored in the fixture, which obviously will be the most headline act of the fixture. It was a great strike, cutting in from the left-hand side, running across the box into kind of a shot just into the bottom right-hand corner, perfectly struck, and will certainly give him a boost of confidence, hopefully, that will then bleed into his games for Arsenal after he returns, of course, as well. And then you've got Bukayo Saka, who probably has the greatest assist of all time. I don't think I've seen a better assist than this. I mean, you tell me if I'm wrong, but I'm trying to think of a better assist than this. I mean, the reaction time to perfectly deflect the ball into the pathway of Harry Kane has to be one of the greatest pieces of skill perhaps the sport has ever witnessed. I mean, feel free to challenge me on this, but I'm trying to think of a greater instinctual assist on record than this one. And I don't think it will ever be beaten. I mean, I recommend you go and give it a watch. Just look for Kane's goal, England-Latvia. Just check out the brilliant assist that Bukayo Saka provides, which is just another goal contribution on his record and another moment to celebrate for sure. Yeah, absolutely. Clint, I think Clint's spot on with this. Once in a lifetime. Absolutely once in a lifetime assist for Bukayo Saka. It was astonishing, the level of skill on display. And speaking of skill on display, Gabriel Martinelli scored as well. Again, another goal for Martinelli this season. Of course, he's continuing some solid form for Arsenal, and that has given him the nod in the Brazilian national side under Carlo Ancelotti, of course. Now playing in kind of this weird role with Vinicius Jr. There was a lot of talk before the game kicked off about, was Martinelli going to be playing at striker? Was it going to be Vinny Jr. playing at striker? And they kind of dovetailed one another. There was moments where Martinelli was kind of central, and there was moments where Vinny was kind of on the left and also central. And the goal actually comes from Vinny dropping into kind of a space just behind the centre forward role. Martinelli then moves into the middle and makes the run. I think it's Paquetá that plays the ball over the top to find him, and then it's a low-driven volley past the Japanese goalkeeper. In a 3-2 defeat for Brazil, they actually went 2-0 up thanks to Martinelli's goal, but managed to see their scoreline turned upside down, and Japan got an important result in the end. But Martinelli, a very good goal, very good finish, continuing his fine form and goal-scoring flair this season. And that obviously, I think, puts him in good stead to potentially start in the next game against Fulham. However, I think we can all agree that the best Homer Simpson impression of the week was produced by Mikel Merino, who scored what is his 6th World Cup qualifying goal in 4 World Cup qualifying matches, which means that only 2 players have now scored more goals than Mikel Merino in World Cup qualifiers during this run, which is quite the astonishing record. 6 goals for Mikel Merino. Both of them, you'll be unsurprised to learn, were indeed headers and very well worked goals, I think, as well. He's just such a threat in the box whenever the ball is perhaps slightly in the air, and provides Spain with just that different element that we've not necessarily associated too much with La Roja, who tend to be much more about the tiki-taka, keep the ball on the floor. But Merino just adds a different dimension to that Spanish side, and his record is very, very good. Very, very good indeed. So congratulations to him. Congratulations to Spain. Congratulations to all the countries, of course, that continue to qualify for the World Cup, including big shout out to Cape Verde, who have also qualified for next year's World Cup. A massive achievement for them. So congratulations to Cape Verde on their qualification for the tournament. Ireland as well. I think Darren in the chat box yesterday was talking about how he desperately needed Ireland to get a result. And thanks to Evan Ferguson, they did. 1-0 win over Armenia yesterday as well. There's been some really big upsets, I think, over the course of this international break, some big results. And I talked about that in yesterday evening show. If you've not yet caught up on the second show, we did 2 shows yesterday. Did you miss the second show? Make sure you go back and watch it. I spoke with Andrew, aka Arsblog, in yesterday's afternoon episode, where we talked about the kind of where Arsenal are so far. We talked about the injuries that we're suffering, our hopes for trophies and titles, and the injury situation and how it's kind of affecting the squad and what might happen and who's doing well. We talked about some of the goals that have been scored by the likes of Dowman and Martinelli. So yeah, that was a really good conversation. We had a bit of a video game tangent as well. So if you're into your gaming, we went into a little bit of a tangent on gaming as well. So you can go and check that one out also. Definitely worth the watch, definitely worth catching up on. It's available, of course, on the audio platforms as you would expect. What's, I think, most important to remember of all, though, is what is available to you always, and that is safety and security while surfing the net. And you can get that by going to nordvpn.com/Gooner and going to get yourself a 1 or a 2 year deal off NordVPN's fantastic service, which includes with us a 30-day money-back guarantee, which I don't think anyone could say any fairer of whatsoever. If there was one thing greater, and there are very few things greater than Bukayo Saka's assist against Latvia, there is a strong argument that this service, NordVPN's offer to you, the TGT community, if there is one thing better than that assist, it could be NordVPN. It potentially might be NordVPN. And if you need to go and, of course, surf the net, while perhaps you're in a different country away from where you would typically stream your services, and you need to go back and hop because something you want to watch is location locked, well, indeed, NordVPN can be your savior in that scenario. It can change your digital location immediately, and we hope that many of the Arsenal players will be changing their geolocation very shortly back to North London, where they'll be preparing, of course, for the Arsenal match against Fulham this weekend. But it also gives yourself that little extra layer of security to keep those snoopers and criminals away from your data. Right, let's go to part 2, your questions and more. All right, after this. Right, this is part 2 of today's show. We'll be jumping into the chat box and tackling some of your questions. So if you've got any questions you'd like to throw in, now is the time to do that. If you put a capital Q, it will help them stand out a hell of a lot more. So please go ahead and drop them into the chat box now, and I'll do my absolute best to answer as many of them as possible. It's the international break, so I do let you go a little bit wild with the questions as much as you like, within reason. But let's go through some of these comments, shall we? Pablo says Mikel Arteta will never get the credit for Merino's transformation, and some of Arsenal's fans. I mean, certainly he has improved as a player. Like, if we're going through the number of improvements that we have seen over the course of Arteta's tenure, Merino is definitely in the group of players that has become a better player as a result of joining Arsenal. I don't think there can be too much debate about that. He's been doing absolutely fantastic. Don says, I love Miles Lewis-Skelly, but I don't want to see him play in our defence. I mean, at left back, he's not good enough. Wow, Don coming in with the criticisms of Miles Lewis-Skelly. I mean, based upon the performances we saw last season, which earned him an England call-up and currently puts him in the frame of being potentially England's starting left back, I think that's quite harsh, Don. Very harsh indeed. Kirill now says that Sweden cannot qualify even anymore, even though they have the likes of Gyökeres and Isak. Wow. That is damning for Sweden in terms of their quality that they have on offer and what they failed, of course, to achieve. Very damning indeed. Abby says, question, cat or dog? This is going to offend a lot of people, but I like both, but dogs. I'm a dog guy, even though I'm allergic to both. But I am a dog guy. Kai says, do you think that Merino would have more goals than Victor Gyökeres if he started up front in all of the games that Victor Gyökeres has started up front? Oh, that is a horrible question to ask, because the answer's probably yes. The answer's probably yes. I mean, we have to be honest, right? And this isn't a slight on Victor Gyökeres, because he's adapting. He's got to learn. He has got to adjust. He's got to learn and adjust and learn. And he's got to adjust. But and yes, Kai says, don't take away the work that Victor Gyökeres does outside of his goal scoring. But it's a fair question. And in 10 games at centre forward, he's got 6 in 4 for Spain. It's an uncomfortable question to ask, but I think it's a fair question. And I think I don't think it's too controversial to say that maybe he probably would have done. I think, it's because he's learned and adjusted. And they're the two things that Victor Gyökeres still needs to do somewhat. So, yeah, I think so. I don't think that's controversial, is it? I mean, we're talking about maybe 4 goals as opposed to 3. I don't think that's mad. If Gyökeres had 5, I don't think we would be having this conversation. But he has 3 in 10. And there's a good chance that Mikel Merino could have more than 3 if he'd have played these 10 games. I don't think that's too bad of a suggestion at all. Carl says, good morning. I believe Merino is a killer and world class. He's so clutch. What's your take? Good morning. I mean, Merino is what he's got a goal for Arsenal this season, of course, at Newcastle. So he's got 1, playing a very limited number of minutes already this season for Arsenal. He's played 243 minutes and he's got 1 goal. And so far, Gyökeres has played, I'm willing to bet, probably 900-ish minutes? What? Oh, a lot less. Oh, no, sorry, not a lot less. He's played 752 minutes. Doesn't take into account add time any of those games. But he's got 3 goals and he's getting a goal every 193 minutes in the Premier League. But he's got a goal every 251 minutes this season. And Merino has got a goal every 462 minutes so far this season. So you could argue that based on that, but Gyökeres is playing at striker and Merino is playing in midfield is the obvious caveat to those stats. Nathan says, with Arsenal having an even number of right and left-footed players in all positions except for goal, do we really? Who would win in a training match, the lefties or the righties? I actually can't call it. What a great question that is. I love that. I love that question. Right, so let's put together the teams, because that's clearly what needs to happen. I need to open a Word document now. So David Raya is right-footed, right? And Kepa's left-footed. Am I correct in saying that? I'm pretty sure I'm correct in saying that. Does Transfermarkt have like the squad details with like what footed they are? If I go to detailed, yes, it does. No, they're both right-footed. Oh, so the left footers don't have a goalkeeper. Is Tommy Setford left-footed? Arsenal under 21s. Let's see. Because they're going to need a left-footed goalkeeper, surely. Detailed. No, they're all right-footed as well. We have no left-footed goalkeeper. Nathan, this kind of ruins our this kind of ruins it for us, doesn't it? Because we don't have. I guess if we just get rid of, we get rid of goalkeepers. So we just ignore goalkeepers. Say it's no keeper game, right? Let's do it that way. We can do it like that. So on our righties and lefties, sounds like an LBC debate more than a football podcast at the moment. On the righties, we've got Saliba. We've got, who else have we got who's right-footed? If I can go, I can organise it by foot. That's great. Okay. So Mosquera, Saliba. Who else have we got? Let me put my mouse in the right place. Martinelli, Eze, Zubi, Timber, Jesus, Rice, White, Gyökeres, Norgard, and Trossard. There are righties, okay? I love this. This is great. Lefties. Let's do the lefties now, and then we'll put them in the right order. I'm fearful that we won't have enough, but I think we will. Havertz. Oh, hold on. I've bolded them. See, all my OCD's kicking in. I'm trying to do this as organised as I can. Havertz, Odegaard, Merino, Saka, Gabriel, Calafiori, Madueke. You have to have a left foot on the left and a right foot on the right for these teams. Hincapié, MLS, and Dowman, and Winery as well. Okay. So they're the teams. We just need to put them in the right formation now. So on our righties, I think we should probably do a we can do kind of those lineup builders, can't we? I can probably share my screen with you and do a lineup builder. I'll just use the top one. Do you remember when we tried to do a giveaway and I couldn't? That's not going to happen, is it? Can I change the color of the shirts? Yes, it looks like it. We want primary color red and white. Okay, so let's share my screen with you, and then we can build the teams together. I like this. This is fun. This is prime international break stuff. Okay, ignore the goalkeeper. We don't have a goalkeeper, which is fine. We don't need a goalkeeper. Have I got Odegaard in the... Yeah, Odegaard is left-footed. I've put Odegaard in the left foot. I've not forgotten anybody. I'm pretty sure I haven't forgotten anyone. Right, let's go to... Have I forgotten Merino? Is Merino in there? Yeah, he's in there. Right, so at right back, we'll do the righties first. So at right back, it's going to have to be White, obviously. Ben White, a right back. Yeah. Then it'll be Saliba, I think. Right centre back. Done. Ignore the numbers. I don't think they need to be right. They might be right. I don't know. Then it's going to be Mosquera. Nice one. These numbers are... I don't know why I've even got numbers. Can I get rid of numbers? I don't think I can get rid of numbers. That's annoying. I would get rid of them if I could, because that's going to bug me. Timber at left back, obviously. Okay, and then we need a different formation, don't we? It's 4-4-2 at the moment. Or it might not. 4-4-2 might work for the right footers because we're going to have Jesus and Gyökeres. We'll change it to 4-3-3 though. I think we just have to because it's Arsenal. Right footer here will go Eze. Yeah, and then here we'll go Zubi. Here we'll go Rice. I mean, if you're just an audio listener, I apologize. You're just hearing me name players at this point. Trossard here. Martinelli here. And Gyökeres here. I think that's it, right? That's the team. Let me just copy this line up into... We'll copy this line up into my PowerPoint presentation because then we can put them side by side next to one another afterwards. Okay, so there's the righties, if you like. Ian Wright as their manager, of course. Who's going to be the manager of the lefties? Because I mean, Ian Wright's got to be the manager of the righties. So you got to tell me who the manager of the lefties is going to be. Right, let's clear this down. Refresh this. Go formation 4-3-3 and go shirts. I mean, we should probably do the shirts of the lefties yellow and blue, right? So we've got two different colors, I guess. Primary color yellow. That is not yellow. That's more yellow. And blue. Yeah, why is it sleeve color blue? It won't let me do it. Why won't it let me do it? I'm clicking blue and nothing's happening. Oh, that's going to really bug me. No, it's not letting me do it for some reason. We're just going to have yellow for some reason. That's annoying, but it's just what's going to have to happen. So, our lefties. Let's think about this quickly because I need to get back up the team. So we got Havertz, Odegaard, Merino, Saka, Gabriel, Calafiori, Madueke, Hincapié, MLS, and Dowman, and Waneri. So right back, I think we're going to have to go Calafiori, right? Calafiori is going to have to go right back. There's no doubt in my mind. Calafiori is right back, 100% right back. And then here, right-sided centre-half will go Gabriel. Left-sided centre-half will go Hincapié. And left-back will go Lewis Skelly. That's got to be the back four. I don't think there's much debate about that. Are we in agreement with that? I'm pretty sure that we need that. There's no goalkeeper because they're all right-footed. So we can't have goalkeepers in this. It's just a no-keepers game. And then we're not doing old players either. I know a lot of you are throwing in names of old players, Bergkamp and Wilshere. I can see a lot of them, but we're only doing current team. So, in midfield, we've got Odegaard, Merino, Waneri, Dowman, Madueke is an option, of course. We've got Havertz as well. I mean, Havertz is going to be at centre forward. I don't think there's any debate about the centre forward. I don't think there's any debate that Saka's going to be on the right, and Madueke will be on the left. Okay, there we go. Here we've got... I mean, defensive midfield's going to have to be Merino, isn't it? I'm trying to think who else it would be other than Merino, but I don't think it can be anyone else. So Merino, even though he's not a defensive midfielder, but Merino will go there. Odegaard will go here. And then we've got a choice. We've got Waneri or Dowman. And that's it. I think we have to go Waneri, right? Just because of seniority. I know some of you will be like, no, put Dowman in, but it's got to be Waneri. We've got to be fair. So that's our away team. Sorry that I've made lefties away from home. It's just like there's definitely some prejudice going on here against left-handed, left-footed people. Right, let's just copy that in, shall we? And we'll copy that into a slide, and then we'll get both up side by side together, and then we'll do a poll, and you can vote. But don't vote on the poll based upon if you're left-footed, because that defeats the point. You can't be biased in this, because that's just cheating. If you're just going to vote for the team that you are associated with because of your own luck of birth of whatever you happen to be, footed or handed or whatever. So, right, let me just share this onto the slideshow and then get it up on the screen, and then you can have your vote. And we'll do a poll on the lefties versus the righties. If you're an audio listener, of course, you will need to come over to YouTube and leave your comment as to what it will be. So these are the two teams. These are your choices. I'll start putting the poll into the chat box now, so we've got it. Which Arsenal team is better? The righties or the lefties? Don't let your political stand change your answer either, or what handed or footed you are either. But just base it purely on these teams. So for the righties, we've got Ben White, Saliba, Mosquera, and Timber as our back four. For the midfield, we've got Zubimendi, Rice, and Eze. We've got Trossard, Gyökeres, and Martinelli as the front three. In the lefties, we've got Calafiori, Gabriel, Hincapié, and Lewis Skelly. We've got Odegaard, Merino, and Waneri. and Saka, Havertz, and Madueke. Now, I would put it to you immediately, in my opinion, that there isn't much doubt that the righties have got the best midfield. You know, Zubimendi, Rice, and Eze is an unbelievable midfield, right? But I would put it to you that the lefties have I would argue, definitely best front three. They have 100% the best front three of the two teams. So then if you're doing it based on that, it comes down to the back four. Now, Ben White, Saliba, Mosquera, and Timber is quite a hell of a back four, to be fair. I mean, that's a Champions League level back four, no doubt about that. Calafiori, Gabriel, Hincapié, Lewis Skelly, still very good back four. Very, very good back four. But I think that if this was to be a game, I think the righties would probably win this game. It would be close, but I think the righties would probably win this over the lefties. That's just looking at how I'm basing it on the quality of the two teams. But it would be close. I think it shows you as well, and this shows you, doesn't it, the depth in Arsenal's team. It really does show you the depth that we have available to us as a club. It is quite significant. At the moment, righties have it in the poll 72% to 28% of you. I'll leave these up on screen while we go through some more of your questions. But a lot of you feel that, indeed, at the moment, that the righties would take this. But in the chat box, we got some passionate lefties. This is just so impossible not to sound so political with this, isn't it? We've got some passionate lefties in the chat. Our liberals today, MWG and Abby, were saying that the lefties is the ones taking it. Obviously, Kai also pointed out that we would have goalkeepers. David Raya is right-footed, yes. But we don't have a left-footed keeper, so we can't fairly put goalkeepers into this at the moment. And Soup says that, yes, I agree about the midfield and forward line, but the defence is easily better with the righties. That right midfield is wicked, says Cal. Yeah, absolutely. It is. Again, it shows you kind of the depth that Arsenal have got. I think the midfield is the biggest gap if you're looking at this. Like, I think the defences are still relatively close. And I think the forward lines are, like, I think that obviously Havertz, Gyökeres kind of brings it closer, but Madueke and Saka, you know, that's a hell of an option to have on your left-footed players. But the midfield, I think, is where the biggest gap is created, mainly because of Rice and Zubi over Merino and Nwaneri. Like, Odegaard is very close, but Zubimendi and Rice over Merino and Nwaneri is very... And you haven't really got a classic number 6. There's no number 6 option in the midfield of the lefties. So the right-footed midfield just, I think, blows out of the water, to be honest. But I love the question. And I've forgotten who even asked the question now. Who asked the question? Am I going to be able to scroll up and see it? Who asked the question? Because it was a great question. And we will find. I'll find it as we go through some of the others. Ken says, question, horse or cow? Horse. Oh, prefer eating cows. Never eaten horse before. Or at least as far as I'm aware, maybe I have. Soup says, how many chances that Victor Gyökeres has had? Should he have scored more? I mean, I think so. Yeah, I think there's arguments that he would have scored more. And there's arguments as well that it would be, you would get, it's not just about the chances, of course, that fall into those two players as well, because the players in some ways and their presence and their runs and their movement and where they are and the type of chances they would get and how it would affect build-up, how it would affect the chance type that we create would be different. So, yeah, I don't think it's just as simple as, how many chances of both of them have. Chilo says, is there something flawed in our system at Arsenal? International duty, our players are on another level. Zubimendi, Merino, Rice, Martinelli, but at Arsenal, they struggle to have the same impact at the moment. I mean, flawed in our system, we're top of the league right now. I mean, it can always get better. We can still improve and do more. I don't think we can talk about necessarily that the system's flawed when we're top of the table. I'd struggle with that, to be honest, to kind of put it into that. I still can't find who it was. Rich says, with the return of fitness of Hincapié, Miles Lewis getting up as our third choice left back. Will he see more action as a backup to Zubimendi? Maybe. Will we see Miles Lewis in midfield? Maybe. I know the answer to your question is I genuinely don't know. I genuinely don't know what we're going to see with Miles Lewis Skelly at the moment and how many minutes he's going to get with the amount of depth that we've got. Joe says if you could move an Arsenal player into a position that they haven't previously played for Arsenal, who and where would you put them? I mean, Lewis Gilly in midfield's not a bad shout. Calafiori at striker, I also don't think is a bad shout. I'd quite like to see Calafiori play at centre forward. That is definitely something. It was Nathan, by the way. Nathan asked the question earlier on as to, with Arsenal having an even number of right and left-footed players in all positions except goalkeeper, who would win a training match, the lefties or the righties? I actually can't call it. I think we have called it now. I think we definitely have called it. I think it is the righties. I think the righties have won. We also haven't come up with who's going to be the left-footed manager. I guess maybe Jack Wilshere's got a shout of being our left-footed manager for the lefties. I mean, the referee's going to be Santi Cazorla. I don't think there's too much debate about who the referee's going to be, because Santi has got to be impartial. And as a double-footed player, he absolutely would be the referee for the game. I don't think there's too much debate about that one. All the players who have scored on international duty have scored for Arsenal this season as well. I mean, it's a great stat. It's very few games played, and yet all of them who have scored for their teams, other than Dowman, I will say. Dowman's not yet scored for the senior side in the season. But he's not a senior level player yet, I guess, at international level, so you could argue that. And Kingley says, what team would Santi belong to? I mean, he doesn't belong to either team. He would be the referee, mate. Yeah, but Righty is the right-footed manager because he's called Righty. There's no debate. There's no debate there. I mean, I'm not having you take that away from me, but I just need a left-footed manager. Ideally, something that plays on words, who is also left-footed. But off the top of my head, I'm really struggling because Freddie Ljungberg was right-footed, because Leftberg would work, but Freddie was right-footed, wasn't he? So that doesn't work either. John says, hey Tom, shout out to 7 Arsenal players called up for the women's internationals. Katie Reid gets a first deserved cap. 4 of the 5 forwards are Arsenal players as well. I mean, Katie Reid's had an utterly fantastic start to the season. I know Arsenal haven't had a great start to the season, really. I know they got back to winning ways this weekend, but Katie Reid won Player of the Month for September. Massive congratulations to her, and she deserves this call-up. AJ says, fans who are concerned about Gyökeres just need to look at Isak, been in the league and banged goals, yet he's struggling because there's no pre-season, and he's playing for a new team as well. I mean, I definitely don't want Ashley Cole, Robin Van Persie as the managers of the left-footed teams. I know where you're coming from, but no thank you. Do not want it. Wenger, is Wenger left-footed or right-footed? I don't know. Wenger, left-footed or right-footed? I don't know if Arsene Wenger was left or right-footed. It's not coming up. Lucas Perez. Well, I've just been reminded of Lucas Perez in a Google search. But I don't know if Wenger was right or left-footed. I don't know if anyone knows that. Or any way of finding that out. Jay Porter says it could all flip after this week's games. The main issues are the lack of goals from the forwards and the midfield creativity. I mean, it could, but it's not. I'd deal with the reality, and the reality is that Arsenal are top right now. Mike says, should Mikel Merino replace Victor Gyökeres as our striker for the Fulham game? No. Peter says, Liam Brady for the manager. Oh, that's a good shout. That's a very good shout. Liam Brady potentially as well, being part of the Arsenal youth setup as a coach, and is arguably, in my all-time Arsenal 11, I don't think you can leave Liam Brady out. If you know your Arsenal history, if you know your Arsenal players back through time, to at least the 70s, which I recommend if you are a younger listener and you don't know about Liam Brady and you haven't watched Liam Brady play, the first thing you need to do is go and watch the highlights. But when you're watching the highlights, don't just watch Liam Brady play. Look at the pitches that Liam Brady is playing on and how he manages to control a football on the pitches that he managed to control a football on and do the things that he did with a football were unbelievable. So I always recommend people go back and watch Liam Brady play because he was astonishing for Arsenal. Astonishing. And it was gutting when he left, of course, for Juve. Imagine what Twitter would have been like in the 70s at the point Liam Brady left. Because Arsenal didn't do too well in the 70s. It was a bit of a barren period, obviously other than the start, but it's a time most Arsenal fans try and forget. But it was, without question, a very, very special time for Liam Brady. Yeah, Amberley says Liam Brady was a hell of a player. I remember my dad telling me how awesome he was when I was a kid as well. Emmanuel says Perez was also left foot. I mean, you're looking now at kind of players of yesteryear, and I understand 100% why you would do that. But this is the current squad, and it shows you the depth that we have on both sides. I didn't realise that we had an equal number of right and left-footed players. And hold on, Perez wasn't left-footed, was he? Well, you're making me second guess my own knowledge now at this. I'm pretty sure Perez was right-footed. Why am I even second guessing myself? Yeah, he was right-footed. What? Goodness, Emmanuel, come on, you've got to know your knowledge. I've been talking about left-footers and right-footers so long now, it caught me out. Evangeru says, I'm 69. Brady was one of the all-time greats. Yeah, Perez was right-footed. Absolutely. Scored some absolute bangers. I mean, the Aston Villa goal, for me, is my favourite. I'm trying to think of a goal of Perez's that I prefer over. I mean, the Southampton goal is also brilliant, but the Aston Villa goal is, for me, has to be the best. The chip over the defender and then the little dink. Beautiful scenes. Beautiful, beautiful goal. Right. I think that is going to bring us to the end of today's episode. Let's just do a quick check on the poll. It's got a bit closer now. 67% of you say the righties win this. 33% of you saying the lefties win this. Purely in a footballing sense. But thank you so much for listening. Really appreciate your time. I hope you have an absolutely fantastic rest of your day. Enjoy yourselves. Have a fantastic rest of your week, if indeed you are taking a break at all. But I hope you'll join me tomorrow morning. Go and catch up on yesterday evening's show. I was joined by Andrew, aka Arseblog, of course, to talk about all things Arsenal for 45 minutes and a bit of gaming as well. So go and catch up on that episode if you've not yet listened to that already. There was 2 episodes yesterday. Make sure you didn't miss one of them. But I'll be back with you, of course, tomorrow morning for more updates. I don't think there's going to be a show on Friday. Reason being, we've got a morning press conference. So I don't know if we're going to have time to be able to squeeze in the morning show before I have to drive to the presser. I'm pretty sure we're not going to be able to have time. So there may not be a show on Friday. I may pre-record one. I may not get time to. So do bear with me with that. But thank you so much, as always, for tuning in and listening. Really great. Appreciate all of you tuning in. Drop a like, subscribe, all that usual YouTube-y stuff. And stay safe, stay well, stay happy and respectful. And as always, up the Arsenal.